Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today in this tutorial I am going to explore about the report management system. This will be a full stack application. So where I will talk about the full stack application means I am going to cover the backend part as well as the front end part. So from the backend part I am going to use the Spring Boot, and as a database we need to store some data, so that's why we can keep those records into the MySQL. So this is about the backend part, and from the frontend part I'm going to use the Angular. So if you can see that already I have created one Spring Boot application, that is report management system from Spring Boot initializer site. Over there you can create project easily, and as a dependencies I have used Spring Boot Starter Web, then Data JPA, then MySQL connector. So these are the necessary dependencies I need to use for creating this report management system. If you see, and Lombok just to avoid the boilerplate code. Now if we come to the main application, so from the backend application I have created one entity, that is a report entity. So here we have created one field as ID, then title, description and the created date. So ID, it will be a primary key of this report table, then title, description and the created date. After that, here we are going to create the APIs, basically three APIs. One is the fetch the all reports. For fetching the all records from the database, so we have created one get mapping, that is a get all reports. Next one, for saving the report details into the database, we have used the create report, and that will be the post mapping. Another API we have created, that is a delete report from the database, so this will be the delete mapping. For the creating the post, we are passing the request body, the report, this entity. Okay, if we open this once, if you see this entity we are passing for creating the report. Now let open this service. So before that also let understand about the repository. This report repository extend JPA repository. So here basically this JPA repository means it will actually already contains the default method like find all, save the data into the database, delete by ID. So all these methods are default over here. So that's why we have not modified or defining any method over here. If we need any custom parameter or custom method, then we need to define for this particular repository. So in the service layer, if you see, we have created one method, that is find all. Using this repository we are just executing this find all. Next, for saving the details into the database, so we are setting the ID as null, because initially while we are saving the report details into the database, then the ID is not created. It will be auto created while we are saving the data into the database, because it's an auto increment ID. We are just setting the local date created date, and then using the repository we are saving the information. For deleting the information, we are just like ID, passing the ID, and based on the delete by ID, this is already defined method in a repository. Then by this ID we are deleting the details from the repository. For setting up the database information over here, if you see, we need to provide the data source .url over here, then username, password. This property is used to just create all the tables, related tables into the database, because here we are defining the entity, but in database we are not going to execute the create statement for the creating this table. It will auto created if we defining this property in a properties file. This property will show the SQL into the console while we are doing some kind of database activity, and this is the Hibernate this MySQL dialect, as we are using the MySQL one. In next, what we are going to do, we are just going to start this application, and then it will auto create this particular table into the database in this schema, and after that we are going to create the front end application. Now I have started this application actually. So after starting this application, you can see that report table got created over here. We have not write any create statement to create that particular table, but it got automatically created for adding this property. If you see this property, so these properties help us to create the tables automatically in the database. Okay, so now this backend application got started. Now from the front end wise, we are just going to create one models over here. If you see that report is model, here we are just creating those properties like ID, title, description and the created date. We have created one service, that is report service. Here we have defining the base URL for talking with the backend services. So this is the base URL for calling the backend APIs, because localhost 880 in this particular port our application, backend application got started or running. Okay, so for getting the reports, it's basically call this base URL and it's return the report of array, report list. For creating the report, it's actually post method. If you see that http.post and then base URL, and we are passing this report in a body. For deleting the report, we are passing the report ID number, and base URL we are passing this ID in a path variable. So this is about the service layer. Now if we see the configurations, so here as we are using the HTTP client for calling the database backend APIs, so that's why this HTTP client we need to use in a configuration. This is the routing configuration for navigation for different paths. Now if we talked about the main HTML file, so here if you see, this is a very simple actually UI. Here if you see that in a form, actually this is the form where we keeping two fields, one is the title, another one is the description. After click on the add report, it will basically call the add report for saving the report details into the database. This is actually for displaying the list of like reports. This is the portion where we are going to display the list of report details, and from over here we can delete the report also by passing this report ID. So now we have started this front-end application also, and it is now available in a localhost 4200. So you can check that how it is look like. So we just need to hit the localhost 4200, then we can see that how the report list is showing. So now if you see that application got started in 4200 port, we have opened that in a browser. Like if you see that it's started in this localhost 4200, and here I have opened this one and it will be look like this one. So initially we don't have any store report list into the database. Initially the database is empty, that's why we can see that we don't see any report over here. So for that, first of all we need to add the details over here. So let add few details over here, then after that we can click on the add report, so the details will come over here. We can add more report details over here. Okay, after click on the add details, add report, you can see the details are coming. We can also delete the added report from just click on the delete button. Okay, now if you see the database, only one record over here because we have deleted another record from over here. So this is all actually about this one. If you guys have anything, even we can add more feature to it. For that you guys can put like what feature I can add over here in the comment section. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon to stay updated with our latest tutorial and tips. Feel free to leave any questions or topic you would like us to cover in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.